Hey there, amazing fans! Before we dive into today's drama, don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support means the world to us. Now, welcome to another relaxing moment with Sugar Stories. Grab a seat, sit back, relax, and let's journey into the story together. Leila Brooks had always been the woman behind the man. She wasn't just an event planner, she was a magician, smoothing wrinkles before they even appeared, patching holes in Kyle Weston's world until he shone. They met in college, she, a driven business major with a knack for details, he, a real estate dreamer with charisma. It wasn't love at first sight. It was gradual, subtle, but intense. He wooed her with ambition and she fell hard. They moved into a modern loft downtown, where she curated every piece of furniture, every candle scent, to reflect the sophisticated image Kyle wanted. She organized his meetings, double-checked his contracts, threw dazzling parties that landed him deals. Yet when it came to recognition, it was always Kyle's name in the spotlight, not hers. The night everything changed was a stormy Thursday. Thunder rumbled low over the city, and rain streaked the floor-to-ceiling windows. They were on the couch, takeout containers scattered across the glass coffee table, when Kyle's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and sighed heavily. "Leila, we need to talk," he said, the words almost lost in the patter of rain. She froze, chopsticks midair. "About what?" He put down his phone but wouldn't meet her gaze. It's not working." Leila's pulse quickened. "Not working? Kyle, what are you talking about? I've been here for you, through everything. I know. I appreciate it. But I need someone different. Someone more exciting. You're great, but I feel stuck." The words hit her like a slap. "Exciting? Kyle, I built my life around supporting you. We built this life together. How can you?" "I'm sorry. It's better this way." The silence after his words was deafening, punctuated only by the rain. Leila felt as though the air had been punched out of her lungs. She managed a whisper. "Is there someone else?" Kyle hesitated, and that hesitation was all the answer she needed. He stood abruptly. "I think it's best if I stay with a friend tonight. I'll get my things tomorrow." Leila sat there long after the door closed behind him. The rain blurred the city lights into streaks of color, her reflection a ghostly shape in the glass. She told herself it was just a rough patch, that Kyle would come back. But days later, as she scrolled through social media in the middle of a sleepless night, she found the photos. Kyle, laughing with a woman who looked eerily familiar. Bianca. Her estranged sister, Bianca. Leila's world shattered. The woman she hadn't spoken to in 5 years, the woman who had always competed with her, undermined her, and finally, disappeared from her life, was now engaged to her ex. The betrayal was a jagged blade twisting in her chest. She fell to her knees in her living room, phone clutched in her shaking hands. Tears blurred the screen, but the images burned themselves into her memory. Kyle's arm around Bianca, the sparkle of an engagement ring, the headline, "Power Couple Surprise Engagement." 4 days, Leila moved through her apartment like a ghost. Her friends' messages went unanswered. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. But as the tears dried on her cheeks, a spark of something, fury, defiance, lit in her chest. She stood in front of her bathroom mirror, face pale and eyes hollow, and whispered, "This isn't my ending." Leila Brooks disappeared from the world. The once meticulously organized apartment turned into a labyrinth of empty takeout boxes, crumpled tissues, and the dull glow of her TV screen, endlessly replaying classic romances where heartbreak inevitably gave way to triumphant love. She spent days curled up on her couch, alternating between sobbing and glaring at her phone whenever a new photo of Kyle and Bianca appeared on social media. Her phone buzzed relentlessly with texts from concerned friends, but Leila ignored them all, until the door burst open one afternoon. "Leila!" Zara's voice rang through the apartment. She was a vision in designer sunglasses and a form-fitting leather jacket, her lipstick as bold as her attitude. Leila barely glanced up from the screen. "Go away, Zara." Zara strode over, plucking the remote from her hand and turning off the TV. "Absolutely not. You are not going to sit here wallowing while that snake of a sister flaunts her stolen fiancé all over the internet. Leila groaned, pulling a blanket over her head. Leave me alone. I don't care anymore. Zara yanked the blanket away. Leila, you care. You're hurt, humiliated, and furious. And you know what? That's good. Because they think you're finished. They think you're down for the count. But guess what, Leila? That's your power. You can show them that you're so much more than they ever imagined. Leila's lips trembled, but she met her friend's fierce gaze. How? Zara's smile was like a challenge. By becoming the woman they never saw coming. The one who owns every room she walks into. The one who gets everything she deserves. And it starts now. First, we're getting you out of this mess and into something fabulous. Zara's determination was infectious. For the first time in weeks, Leila felt a spark of life returning. She allowed Zara to pull her from the couch and into a whirlwind of shopping bags, makeup tutorials, and social media makeovers. Zara turned her apartment into a makeshift runway, critiquing every outfit until they found the perfect combinations that made Leila's natural elegance shine. One night, as they toasted with glasses of wine over a freshly curated Instagram profile, Zara said, "You're about to remind the world exactly who Leila Brooks is. And you'll do it so spectacularly, they'll forget Kyle Weston ever existed." The next morning, Leila woke up to hundreds of notifications. Her transformation photos had gone viral overnight. Comments poured in, praising her style, her glow-up, her strength. Offers started to trickle in. Small event planning gigs, collaborations with designers, invitations to exclusive parties. Then came the email that changed everything. An invitation to plan a charity gala hosted by Roman Cross, the enigmatic billionaire with a reputation for power and precision. The subject line read, "An opportunity to shine." Leila stared at the screen, her hands trembling. Zara leaned over her shoulder. "This is it, Leila. This is your shot." Her lips curled into a smile. "Then let's make it unforgettable." The next few weeks were a blur of transformation. Zara became Leila's shadow, coaching her through every detail of her reawakening. They ditched the baggy sweats and shapeless tees for tailored blazers and sleek dresses that showcased Leila's natural grace. Her once drab social media was now a vision of curated perfection, power poses, bold colors, and captions brimming with unapologetic confidence. "You've always been beautiful, Leila," Zara said one evening as they sipped cocktails on a rooftop bar. "But now? You're magnetic. People can't look away." Leila felt the shift. Where once she would have hesitated before speaking up or stepping into the spotlight, now she embraced it. She attended networking events, captivating potential clients with her charm and vision. Fashion insiders began whispering about her, intrigued by the woman who seemed to have risen from the ashes. One afternoon, as Zara scrolled through Leila's rapidly growing follower count, she grinned. "You're officially viral, babe. They're calling you the comeback queen." The next big step was Roman Cross's charity gala. The mysterious billionaire was notoriously private, but his events were legendary. Rumors swirled that securing the role of event planner for his gala was like winning the social lottery. When the official offer came through, an elegant invitation embossed with gold lettering, Leila felt a surge of adrenaline. It wasn't just any event, it was a chance to prove her worth on a grand scale, to show the world she was a force to be reckoned with. The weeks leading up to the gala were filled with meticulous planning. Leila met with florists, caterers, lighting experts, and set designers. She infused the gala with bold, innovative ideas, floating floral arrangements, interactive installations, and a menu curated by a Michelin-starred chef. Her vision was a blend of opulence and modern sophistication, a stark contrast to the sterile grandeur typical of Roman's past events. One evening, as she reviewed final details at her studio, Roman himself appeared. Tall, impeccably dressed, and exuding an air of quiet power, he surveyed the mock-ups and sample layouts she had arranged. "Impressive," he murmured, his eyes scanning the room. "You've exceeded my expectations, Miss Brooks." Leila's heart skipped. "Thank you, Mr. Cross. I aim to make this gala the most unforgettable event of the year." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "You're not just planning a party. You're staging a declaration. Steal the night, and everything changes. Their gazes locked, the unspoken challenge thick in the air. Leila felt a jolt of determination. I intend to do just that. Outside, as Roman's sleek car vanished into the night, Zara appeared from behind a curtain, grinning. Did he just give you the green light to outshine your ex and your sister? Leila's smile was slow, deliberate. Yes. And I plan to make them wish they'd never underestimated me. As the night of the gala approached, the city buzzed with anticipation. Invitations were coveted, and Leila's social media hinted at the spectacle to come. Every detail was set. Every piece of her plan was in motion. And she was ready to steal the show. Leila Brooks stood before the grand marble entrance of the Sterling, the ultra-luxury venue Roman Cross had chosen for his gala, and as fate would have it, the same venue where Kyle and Bianca were set to celebrate their engagement. Her phone buzzed in her clutch. Zara's text flashed on the screen. "You've got this, queen." Taking a deep breath, Leila stepped inside. The venue was a cathedral of glass and steel, echoing with the low hum of anticipation. A hush fell as she entered the main ballroom. The staff, the vendors, everyone paused to take in the woman in the crimson dress, her eyes shimmering with quiet determination. This wasn't just an event. It was a declaration. Roman was already there, his tailored suit impeccable, his silver cufflinks catching the light. He approached her, his gaze assessing but approving. "You've transformed this place," he murmured, taking in the floral installations suspended from the ceiling like living chandeliers, the ambient lighting that bathed the room in gold and rose tones. "I told you I'd steal the night," Leila said softly, her pulse quickening. He inclined his head. "And yet we have a complication." She followed his gaze to the far end of the venue. There, the sounds of laughter and clinking glasses floated from the adjacent ballroom. Kyle and Bianca's engagement party. "They're in the same building?" she asked, her voice steady despite the storm of emotions swirling inside her. Roman's lips curved into a knowing smile. "Consider it a chance to outshine them. I've given you full creative control. Make it a night they'll never forget." Leila squared her shoulders. "Then let's raise the stakes." The planning intensified. Leila's team worked tirelessly, adjusting lighting to spotlight dramatic floral arches, finalizing an awe-inspiring digital display that would project an evolving cityscape across the walls, and ensuring the culinary experience was a performance in itself. Roman, always nearby, provided subtle suggestions that elevated the event's impact without overshadowing her leadership. "Your vision is bold," he said one evening as they reviewed the final renderings. "But can you handle the pressure?" Leila met his gaze evenly. "I was born for it." The night of the gala arrived. Guests in couture gowns and tailored suits flowed into the venue, murmuring in awe at the spectacle Leila had created. The digital cityscape shimmered against the walls, transitioning seamlessly from dawn to dusk to a glittering night sky. The air buzzed with the clink of glasses and the low thrum of an exclusive DJ set. At the other end of the venue, Kyle and Bianca's party struggled to maintain attention. Their decor seemed dated in comparison, the entertainment falling flat. As whispers circulated, Kyle's confident veneer began to crack. Roman stood at Leila's side, surveying the scene. "You've done it," he said, a rare note of admiration in his voice. Leila, her lips painted a bold red, allowed herself a small smile. "And I'm just getting started." The night had arrived with an electric charge that seemed to hum beneath the city lights. Leila stood backstage for a moment, her breath steady despite the rapid pulse in her veins. The scarlet gown clung to her in all the right places, a masterpiece that felt like armor, designed by Zara to not only catch eyes but to command attention. The gown's deep, rich red was a statement: passion, power, and undeniable presence. The grand ballroom shimmered under crystal chandeliers, golden light reflecting off polished marble floors. The air was thick with anticipation and the faint scent of expensive perfumes and fresh flowers. Leila could hear the low murmur of the crowd gathering for the gala. A crowd filled with socialites, influencers, business magnates, and media elites. This wasn't just any charity gala, this was her declaration. Across the adjacent ballroom, Kyle's engagement party was unfolding. Leila knew that many from their shared social circles would attend both events, some drifting unknowingly between the two, caught in the crossfire of this silent war. But tonight, there would be no confusion about who was stealing the show. Leila's entrance was orchestrated like a scene from a movie. The music swelled, a slow, sultry jazz number that rippled through the room. All eyes turned as she descended the grand staircase, every step purposeful, every glance measured. Cameras flashed in rapid succession, their shutters clicking like applause. The crowd whispered her name, some in awe, some in disbelief. The woman they thought was broken, discarded, and forgotten had returned like a comet, bright, unstoppable, and impossible to ignore. Roman Cross, standing at the foot of the staircase, watched with a faint, approving smile. His icy gaze softened just slightly as Leila passed him, the chemistry between them palpable even from a distance. The air seemed to thicken with tension and possibility. The gala itself was a masterclass in spectacle. Leila's vision unfolded perfectly. Lights danced in sync with the music, creating waves of color that swept over the audience. The decor was opulent but never gaudy. Every element spoke of elegance and sophistication. Servers moved like shadows, gliding through the crowd with trays of delicate hors d'oeuvres and champagne flutes sparkling like diamonds. Guests were enchanted. They mingled eagerly, drawn into the atmosphere Leila had crafted. Social media feeds exploded with posts tagged #Leila Brooks Gala and #The Night to Remember, pictures and videos capturing the magic of the evening. Influencers posted live streams, and soon the entire city seemed to be talking about the stunning comeback of Leila Brooks. Meanwhile, in the adjacent ballroom, Kyle's engagement party was losing its shine. Bianca's radiant smile was becoming forced as she stole nervous glances toward Leila's event. Kyle's smug expression slowly curdled into confusion, then irritation, and finally raw anger. "She's stealing the spotlight," Bianca hissed under her breath, dragging Kyle to a quiet corner. Kyle scowled. "This was supposed to be our night. Our celebration." Bianca's fingers tightened into a fist. "We need to do something. She can't overshadow us." But Kyle's face betrayed something else beneath the surface. Fear. The fear of losing control. Of being forgotten in the very world he'd once dominated. Back at the gala, Leila felt the shift in energy. A wave of empowerment rolling through the room. She was no longer just a background player in someone else's story. Tonight, she was the star. Roman stepped beside her, offering a glass of champagne. "You're owning this night." Leila met his gaze, her eyes blazing with a newfound confidence. "This is just the beginning." The clock ticked toward midnight, the climax of the evening. Leila took the stage to give a brief speech, short, sincere, and dripping with quiet strength. "Thank you all for being here tonight. This event is more than a celebration. It's a testament to resilience, to the power of reinvention, and to the strength we find in ourselves when we refuse to be defined by others. Tonight, we're not just raising funds, we're raising expectations. Here's to new beginnings." The applause was thunderous, the energy in the room palpable. Outside the gala, the social media storm intensified. Messages of support flooded in, and even some former skeptics began to acknowledge Leila's transformation. Leila caught a glimpse of Kyle through the glass partitions separating the ballrooms. Their eyes locked for a brief second, a silent exchange heavy with everything unsaid. He looked defeated. She looked unstoppable. As the night drew to a close, Leila realized something crucial. She hadn't just stolen a party. She had stolen back her life, and she intended to never let go. The gala was still humming with energy when Leila found herself drifting toward the quieter corners of the grand venue. The night had been a whirlwind of glances, whispers, and flashing cameras, but now, under the soft glow of a crystal chandelier, a more intimate moment awaited her. Roman Cross had been a steady presence throughout the evening, always just close enough to be reassuring but never intrusive. His calm, controlled demeanor was the perfect counterbalance to Leila's fiery return. There was a magnetism to him, something beyond the polished billionaire persona. A subtle hint of respect and genuine interest that unsettled and intrigued her in equal measure. As she sipped her champagne, a shadow fell over her. Bianca. Leila's breath caught. The last person she wanted to see tonight. Bianca's eyes sparkled with a venomous mix of envy and desperation. You think this makes you better than me? She sneered, stepping closer until their faces were inches apart. Leila's smile was icy, her voice low but steady. I'm not here to make a scene, Bianca. I'm here to build an empire. Bianca's lips curled into a bitter laugh. An empire? You don't have what it takes. You've always been second best. The words stung, but Leila had spent the last weeks steel-tempering herself against exactly this kind of poison. She met Bianca's gaze without flinching. I'm not here to compete with you, Leila said quietly. I'm here to surpass everything we both ever dreamed. Before Bianca could reply, Roman stepped forward, his presence like a shadow enveloping the confrontation. And she's doing a damn good job, he said softly, his voice calm but firm. Bianca's eyes flicked to him, sizing up the threat. Who's this? Your bodyguard. Roman's smile was sharp. Something like that. The tension crackled between the three of them, but then Bianca, sensing the weight of Roman's influence, backed off with a final glare. This isn't over. Leila watched her go, the adrenaline still buzzing in her veins. Roman turned to her, his gaze steady and almost unreadable. Kyle once tried to undercut me in a deal, Roman said quietly. He failed. Tonight I make sure you don't. Leila raised an eyebrow, surprised by his admission. Why? Because I like winners, he replied simply. And you're not just a winner, you're a force. The words hit her harder than she expected. She'd been so focused on proving Kyle wrong that she hadn't stopped to consider how far she could go with the right allies. Roman's phone buzzed, breaking the moment. He glanced down and then back at Leila. There's something else. I want to offer you more than one night. More than just a gala. Let's build something global together. Leila blinked. The offer was bold, unexpected. It wasn't just a lifeline, it was a launch pad. I'm listening, she said. Roman smiled, the first genuine smile she'd seen from him. But, because this is just the beginning. As the night wore on, Leila felt a shift within herself. 4 years she had played supporting roles, planner, fixer, background cheerleader. Now, with Roman's quiet backing, she was stepping into the spotlight on her own terms. Outside the ballroom, the city was alive with gossip and speculation. Social media was abuzz, hashtags trending worldwide. The unexpected pairing of Leila and Roman had sparked a frenzy of headlines. But inside, away from the cameras and the noise, something new was beginning. An alliance built on respect, ambition, and perhaps something deeper. Leila's heart, so long bruised and guarded, fluttered with the thrill of possibility. For the first time in years, she wasn't just reclaiming what she'd lost. She was forging a new path, a path that no one could predict and no one could stop. The days after the gala blurred into a whirlwind of headlines, social media storms, and high-stakes conversations. Leila's phone never stopped buzzing. Messages from admirers, potential collaborators, and even old acquaintances who had written her off. But amid the excitement, one name loomed like a shadow: Kyle Weston. His reaction to Leila's triumphant return was nothing short of desperate. When the press caught wind of the gala, and the undeniable chemistry between Leila and Roman, Kyle scrambled to regain control. The image of the perfect, polished engagement was fracturing, and he was losing ground fast. Kyle's public statement was a calculated move, crafted by his PR team to sound magnanimous but loaded with subtle digs. Leila Brooks's success is largely thanks to the connections I've made over the years, he declared in a brief video posted to his social media. She's talented, sure, but no one makes it alone. The comment ignited a firestorm. Roman, never one to be overshadowed or underestimated, responded immediately, and with force. Leila Brooks's brilliance has nothing to do with Kyle Weston, Roman said in a live interview with a top business channel. His voice was calm, unyielding. She is the future of luxury events and innovation. I stand with her because she's earned every bit of her success. The media frenzy escalated overnight. Headlines splashed across every major outlet: the rise of Leila Brooks, from heartbreak to powerhouse, Roman crossbacks Leila, shuts down Kyle's claims. Kyle Weston's empire cracks as Leila shines. Leila watched the coverage from her sleek new apartment, a faint smile tugging at her lips. The woman who once crumpled on her living room floor was now the subject of admiration and respect. Roman's presence beside her was a constant source of strength. At every event, every meeting, he was there, not to overshadow, but to amplify her voice. One evening, as the city lights twinkled beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, Roman handed her a glass of champagne. "You're playing in the big leagues now," he said quietly. Leila clinked her glass against his. "And I'm just getting started." But the battlefield extended beyond media battles. At a high-profile industry conference, Leila found herself face-to-face with Kyle, who was as composed as ever but carrying an unmistakable edge beneath his polished exterior. "Kyle?" Leila greeted him coolly. "I didn't expect to see you here." Kyle's smile was tight. "I'm everywhere, Leila. Just like you." Their conversation was a game of chess, each word loaded with meaning. Kyle tried to bait her, suggesting she owed much of her comeback to him. But Leila refused to take the bait. "I owe my comeback to myself," she said, eyes steady. "And to those who believe in me for who I am, not who I was with." The room around them buzzed with tension. Industry leaders and media personalities watched, sensing the clash of old power and new. Roman, standing a few feet away, caught Leila's eye and gave a subtle nod, a silent message of support. That night, Leila posted a message on her social media. "Success isn't given. It's taken. And I'm here to take what's mine." The post went viral, sparking an outpouring of support from followers worldwide. The ripple effects were undeniable. Offers poured in, from brand partnerships to speaking engagements and beyond. Leila's calendar filled faster than ever before, and the woman who had once sacrificed everything for someone else's dream was now living hers. Roman pulled her aside one evening during a gala after-party. "I want to offer you something more than just events," he said. "Something bigger, a global partnership. A chance to build a legacy." Leila looked at him, the weight of the offer sinking in. This was no longer about proving a point to Kyle or Bianca. This was about her future, and the future they could create together. "I'm ready," she said simply. Roman's smile was slow and knowing. "Good. Because the world is watching." Behind the scenes, Kyle's empire began to tremble under the pressure. His reputation was slipping, his personal life under scrutiny. But Leila didn't gloat. She had learned that true power was about rising above the fray. As the night deepened and the party thrummed around her, Leila felt a fierce sense of clarity. The past was behind her. The future was hers to claim. And she would stop at nothing to make sure she never lost again. Morning sunlight filtered through the sheer curtains, casting a warm glow over the sleek city skyline. Leila woke slowly, the events of the previous night still swirling in her mind like a vivid dream. Her phone lay on the bedside table, buzzing relentlessly with notifications, messages, interview requests, congratulations pouring in from every corner of the globe. For the first time in years, Leila didn't reach for the phone with hesitation or dread. Instead, she smiled. Scrolling through the flood of emails and texts, one message stood out, a text from Kyle. "We should talk." Leila's thumb hovered over the screen, hesitating for a fraction of a second before she slid the message to read and ignored it. She wasn't interested in conversation. Not now. Not ever. The woman who had been pushed aside, broken, and discarded was no longer the same Leila Brooks. She was a phoenix rising, her wings forged in fire and resolve. Later that evening, as the city glittered beneath a canopy of stars, Leila found herself on a rooftop terrace with Roman Cross. The world stretched endlessly before them, a panorama of possibilities glittering like jewels. Roman handed her a glass of rich red wine, the deep color catching the light. He smiled, a slow, knowing smile that spoke of secrets yet to be shared and battles yet to be won. "This is just the beginning," he murmured. Leila's heart quickened, a rush of exhilaration flooding her veins. For so long, she had lived for someone else's dreams, sacrificing pieces of herself in the process. Now, every beat of her heart echoed her own ambitions, her own desires. She looked out over the city, her city, and felt something profound: freedom. Freedom to build, to create, to command her own story. Roman's gaze found hers, steady and warm. "You stole the night," he said softly. "Now, it's time to steal your life." Leila's laugh was light, the sound of someone who had reclaimed her power and was ready to wield it. The cameras below flashed intermittently, capturing the moment. A new chapter in the saga of Leila Brooks, the woman who refused to be invisible. As they clinked their glasses, the promise of the future shimmered between them. No longer just a show stealer at one night's party, Leila was now the architect of her destiny. And the world was watching.